Investigative Directorate against corruption head advocate Andrea Johnson is expected to take the stand at the Madlanga Commission of Inquiry in Pretoria today. Johnson, who was due to testify last week, was unable to appear after being rushed to hospital ahead of her scheduled testimony. She has been implicated by several witnesses who allege that she interfered in investigations and defeated the ends of justice in a matter involving suspended Crime Intelligence Deputy Head Major General Feroz Khan. For more, we cross to my colleague Ayanda Nyathi and reporter Canny Maphanga, both at the Madlanga Justice College. A very good morning to you, Ayanda. So the moment has arrived now. Many had anticipated the appearance of the IDAC head last week, but she's indeed available today to come before the commission. Just remind us of some of the allegations insofar as Andrea Johnson is concerned that she would have to answer to.
Yeah, Mfundo, the stage is certainly set for that much-anticipated appearance of Andrea Johnson after that attempt from last week didn't necessarily go ahead. I think most people in the room being taken by surprise by that communication that she was unwell. But if we can report anything to go by, we're told she's back at work and, in fact, according to the Sunday World, had a meeting with staffers, with a source telling the newspaper that she was even emotional at that stage, telling them that she is looking forward to giving her side of the story. Well, it'll all be clear, hopefully, by 9:30, whether or not that will go ahead. But as you mentioned, Canny Maphanga, our senior reporter, is also here with us at the Madlanga Justice College and joins us now. And Canny, there are a long list of questions, I imagine, for Andrea Johnson. Among them is whether or not she aided Feroz Khan to essentially have a advantage, for lack of a better term, after a case was opened against him.
Indeed, and I think Major General Feroz Khan is the common denominator in both instances in which we see Johnson facing that lens of scrutiny, because one takes place in her past as a senior public prosecutor, and then the other takes place under her watch as the head of IDAC, where it seems that in both instances it could allegedly have been his interest being furthered, and that is advanced against the backdrop of the previous evidence that we've seen about Khan in his own WhatsApp communications, where he's not shy to activate counters within crime intelligence. And it's known that there is that bit of a battle for the control of the heart and soul of crime intelligence within the South African police services. And I think the appointment of Brigadier Mukwele was a prime example of such a situation. So it's about establishing whether or not there was some kind of affinity towards Major General Feroz Khan that would have allegedly influenced the conduct as senior public prosecutor. And if indeed that was the case, then what does that mean for what we're seeing playing out for IDAC right now, where you're seeing it play a key role within crime intelligence and the alleged battles playing out there? Because that's at least what the evidence suggests. It seems that the complaint at the heart of it in Brigadier Mukwele's appointment is that Major General Feroz Khan was not part of the panel. And the implication there was that he was not part of the panel, so he could not have had any kind of alleged influence over who would have taken that seat. And there's a lot of interest as to why it would be such an issue for him to not be part of the panel, and how then IDAC finds itself investigating or allegedly meddling in what has possibly been reduced to HR matters, if you can put it that way, before crime intelligence. And what is it their business to be so involved to state in the investigation that they could have included other generals such as Major General Khan? Like that little slip there, and looking at the past evidence, raises further questions for Advocate Andrea Johnson, and we'll see what her defense is to some of these allegations and whether or not she can even entertain it, because we do know that witness oath complaints or protected disclosure is still the subject of investigation. So I'm not sure how much she can tell the commission in that regard, because she's basically accused of interference and defeating the ends of justice in that regard in a protected disclosure made against her that is being investigated by the Hawks. So I'm not sure how much she can share in that detail, but at the very least, IDAC's operational methods have been exposed to an extent that require her answer as the head of that particular unit. And what then her response is and whether the two can actually be connected is something that we'll have to see play out before the Madlanga Commission.
The ironies should not be lost on us, of course, Canny, because we know that IDAC was put together primarily to investigate allegations of state capture and interference. And so in many ways, it's ironic that the head of this unit is now before this commission to answer very similar questions against her.
Yes, indeed. It was designed to fight high-level corruption, and it's different in that it's prosecutor-led in terms of its investigation, so it makes it a bit different in how they do things. It's about testing whether or not there was any motive, intention, an ill intention towards the approach that we see in the current matters that are under scrutiny, and whether or not that can be connected to her past as a senior public prosecutor, because we do have someone like Major General Feroz Khan, who has been placed before the Commission as someone that allegedly is not shy to activate a counter and will use different tools to do so. And the question is whether or not IDAC in this instance was an alleged tool to afford a shield to Khan or to fight those alleged factional battles, because at the very least we saw that case against Brigadier Mokwele really falling apart before the Madlanga Commission. Of course, the court will decide whether or not there is a case there or not, but there wasn't a requirement for a Section 27 referral. Some of the charges were allegedly manufactured. The material used to support the docket are not correlating at all. There's a lot of questions with respect to the Brigadier Mokwele appointment case, which is the fraud and corruption case against several high-ranking generals, including that of Lieutenant General Dumsani Khumalo. And what then must the Commission make of that particular case in light of what we've heard so far with respect to IDAC and its operational methods, but also what Advocate Johnson may have done in her past as a senior public prosecutor?
Right. When we know that that testimony is likely to start at 9:30. For now, Canny, thanks for appetizing us, or whetting our appetite, I should say. As always, we'll touch base with you once again in Fundo just before the Commission starts to get you a sense of what else we know, especially because at this point we haven't been able to spot Andrea Johnson yet, but there is certainly a sense that she will be in the room, and hopefully when we speak next, we'll be able to spot her too.